Now you can hear me. All right. So beautiful. Let's start in butterfly. Butterfly, flying butter. Okay, bring your feet together. And you want your groin about 2 hands length away from your heels. And if you're very bendy, you can feel free to pull them a little bit closer. Grab onto your shins. And the first, we're just going to lift up our hearts. Drop your head back. And then with your exhale, bring your chin to your chest and start to roll down softly. Take a full breath in, and with your exhale, sigh out your breath as you get into the posture. So your breath is one of the fastest, both feedback and one of the fastest tools we can use. So just allow your attention to just settle on your breath. And notice that even with your attention, naturally your breath starts to deepen. Let your head be heavy. Let your elbows be heavy. Let your cheeks kind of hang. Your tongue be fat. Your belly soft for now. Maybe closing your eyes will help you soften. Take a couple moments and notice if you can remember your dreams. And if you can't remember the details, maybe just notice the feelings or the attitude you woke up with this morning. And then take a couple of moments and notice your own thinking so far today. Observing how you've been thinking, not so much what you've been thinking. Take a couple moments and start to notice how your feelings are today. And maybe it's one clear feeling or a bouquet of emotions. Feel into your energy, the animation of your body. Maybe even noticing right now if you're warm or cool, light or dark. Sometimes we feel heavy in our physicality, and other times we feel light. And then come all the way down into your physical body. for the last couple moments of this forward bend. And with your inhale, roll up and your feet stay the same, and you're just going to come back onto your elbows. And if it's okay for your neck, let your head drop. If it's not okay for your neck, just keep your chin towards your chest. And just continue to notice your physical body for a couple of moments. This physical body is our vehicle to be here in this equation between birth and death. It's a temporary house or piece of earth, your own plot of this planet. It's a part of you that the forces of gravity work physically, where your physical body in part is ruled by physics that rule all the elements of the earth, all the physical elements of the earth. Now, one of the ways to notice and allow a picture in of our energetic body, or more our etheric body, which can be also understood through the Vedic tradition of the Pranamaya Kosha. One of the images you can have and carry of this body is it's the part of your body that wants to go back to the sun. We know this. Like, we know how good the sun feels, especially if you've had a very dark winter. We can see in spring how the sun forces awake the earth. I joke that in Sweden, you can nearly see plants jumping out of the ground. They're so excited. Things grow fast. Now allow your elbows to slide out to the side and let your upper body come down to the ground, keeping your feet as they are. And bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. So in our physical body, we have this intimate connection to the earth. In our etheric body, we have this intimate connection to the sun. I was thinking about it this morning. I nearly feel like our emotions, they are really part of our moon body, where a lot of how we feel is reflective and reactive and engaged and in relation. And that is the quintessential nature of the moon, where the moon's light is a reflection of sunlight. It's a reflection of something other than itself. It's its relation to the sun. And then in our astral body, which bridges our emotions and our land of our thoughtscape of, what do I want to say? Our scape of thoughts, our dreams, our desires. The astral implies that it's from the stars. And it's really this working together of all of these elements that enlivens us the most. So we can move our body. We can get sweaty. We can have a workout. But until we allow our soulful forces to be moved with it, our experience isn't as rich as it can be when we engage fully in something. We all know the phrase of like going through the motions. So even before we start to look at the different organs in our body and look how their functions are related esoterically to the different celestial bodies, the planets, we can already have this experience of being a universal being here on Earth. And actually, that the life on Earth is sustained and enlivened by the other celestial bodies, especially the sun. You might notice just like the plants jumping out of the ground, when it's spring, you want to do more. When the sun is shining, you feel like you can actually access more will. Hug your knees to your chest. And we're going to do the little yang rock and roll, and hug your knees up to your chest and roll, rock 9 times to go in a complete circle and come back to where you were. The same, but different. Hmm. You can smile. I mean, this is not, we don't usually roll around. And then roll up to a seated position and stretch your legs out straight in front of you. We're going to do a little bit more yin this morning. Now, rather than fluffing your cheeks out behind you, take your inner thighs and actually roll them upward and kind of push your bottom underneath you more. So you have more of a cushion to sit on. And then first thing you want to check out is you want to be over your hips or slightly in front of your hips. You just don't want to be behind yourself. So just check your uprightness. If you need to sit on a block or books, and then start to come into it actively. So take your hands like little spiders and try to walk them forward towards your toes, and then reach your chest forward, wiggle your sit bones back, and then do it again. Reach your chest forward, wiggle your sit bones back, and then maybe walk a little bit more. And once you can't walk any further with your fingers, then you soften into the pose, bowing forward. So yesterday in Sweden, and I imagine in Switzerland too, we had what the Swedes refer to as a red day, but a holiday where people are off work, banks are closed, and the tradition is for people to gather with their families. And um, the day is the Christian festival of Ascension, and it comes 40 days after the resurrection of Christ. And this 40 days is always in lots of different traditions a very specific number that, like, it takes us 40 days to really develop a habit, good or bad. It's very, this number 40 kind of is linked together with transformation. And yesterday at dinner, Pear asked me to talk about what Ascension was. And I was really hungry and grumpy and didn't want to do it. But it got me to thinking. And, I might know just about as much as you all about it. Like, where, Ascension, it just basically means that Christ like disappeared from earth, is a very kind of simple way to put it. And I thought about, like, okay, this is still like, it's becoming more and more kind of separated, these Christian holidays that so many people in, for instance, Europe celebrate, but fewer and fewer people understand or actually celebrate it inwardly. And that these festivals have another interesting thing where over time there's been so many people engaged with these festivals and thinking about these festivals that they've really enlivened the archetype of these festivals. So even if we ourselves are not Christian, that these archetypes, kind of the gesture, the mood of these festivals still deeply affect people, even without the tradition to go with it, because it has been something that has been filled with so much thought and so much practice and energy from humanity for a long time now. And it was so appropriate with Ascension that it's still a day that, people take off and connect with their families. With your inhale, start to roll your chest up. And then you're going to cross your ankles and roll over your crossed ankles. And you can either come first to lie just prone on the ground for your body to rebound, or if you feel ready, you can go straight into Sphinx. So several years ago, I had the pleasure of hearing Orland Bishop give a lecture about the cosmic picture of the Easter, of the crucifixion, or the deed on Golgotha. And it was awesome because it was a lecture given to youth and, of varying backgrounds. It wasn't at all a lecture solely about Christianity. And what's interesting is that the picture of ascension, of the being of Christ evaporating in the clouds and lifting away from the earth. This picture can be seen both as a warning and a picture of hope, because what the sensation was apparently for the disciples at first, and for the human beings, was that the Christ being had left. So you can nearly think of it as like, Elvis has left the building, that Christ actually went away. And this picture was a warning because there are secrets around the deeds of Christ that have to do with the esoteric development of the human being. Now, if you can imagine it, and I feel like now we can kind of see this. At the time that this sun being incarnated into the world, was a time where all humanity was in need of a renewal, because the energetic forces of their etheric bodies had really been depleted. And so what that meant was that the physical body was becoming unable to host the spirits of incarnating souls in the same way it used to. And one of the kind of secrets of the crucifixion and resurrection is that this deed was actually in service of all human beings, both dead and alive. What the service was it renewed our etheric body. It renewed our life force body, the pranamaya kosha, for every human being who lived on earth. And so the picture is that Christ actually sacrificed and united his whole etheric body with the body of earth. And so this sun being that was foretold of by, beings such as Zarathustra and many others, the sun being who came to earth actually united with the earth instead of leaving and dissipating and going back to the sun. And this act allowed that all human beings to be born on earth had access to these life forces that gave their bodies the power to host their being. So it's kind of, it's not, in esoteric Christianity, there's such a strong picture that the sacrifice of this being Christ was for the whole earth and all of humanity. Very different than how we now in this modern day start to see Christians. And we often get this picture of this habitual division, saint and sinner, us and them, some going to heaven, some going to hell. When actually the esoteric quality of this was an act that served all of humanity. And start to lower yourself down to the mat. Wiggle your butt back and forth. And then you're gonna roll nothing. You're gonna bring your hips back to your heels, cross your ankles once again, and come onto your back. And we're gonna do a little twist before we start our fire practice. So hug your knees. Let's do a gentle one. So hug both of your, lie on your back and hug both your knees to your chest. Reach your arms out like you're being crucified. No, I'm just kidding. Reach your arms out, open. And then slowly drop your knees to the right. Take your gaze in the other direction to the left. So this picture of ascension, I said, was a warning or an admonishment for what would have happened without this act. And then it's also a picture of rescue, that instead of dissipating and disappearing and returning to the sun, actually this act was actually for us to trust that it happened, even though the physical reminder dissipated. And its connection is also really to Pentecost, what comes 10 days later, which has another story, but we'll save that story for another time. But what I found really a useful reminder is that, and why, and kind of a validating element of why we still have these festivals and holidays, even if we're not engaged in the religious elements of Christianity, the spiritual elements of Christianity are still really available and very much alive in our traditions, and the kind of the archetypes that the people, human beings before us, have kind of breathed life into things. So even if it's not something that is awake in some people, even the fact that they kind of celebrate life and gather together with their families or loved ones, or take some time to appreciate nature or the beauty of being, is actually so perfect and so essential for this festival. And this act of, like, this element of being in service to people who don't even acknowledge you or celebrate you, is very much like in the Buddhist tradition of like doing something and not expecting applause. Like this is part of our higher nature, to give without needing to receive the same thing back, or without expectations of what it will be that we receive back. And that we can be of service to people most deeply from our, like the most exquisite part of ourselves. And it's still of service, even if they don't even recognize that you're being a gift to them in their life. And I think that is so important for us to remember. So hug your knees back to your chest and slide your knees to the other side, dropping them slowly down to your left and taking your gaze to the right. And we can imagine, or we can remember, that when we work on ourselves, when we work on transforming ourselves in our body, in our soul, we're actually strengthening the archetypes of that act of becoming more yourself for everybody. You know, when we are able to do the hard work inside of ourselves, we make it more possible for the next person to do that work too. You know, this archetypal activation, we recognize it most easily when it's a negative thing. Like, for instance, one of the more, it is one of the reasons I've now become grateful for the Trump presidency. But one of the things that you saw right away after Trump was elected, that there was more obvious acts of racism, of sexism, and it just like, it lifts the poop to the surface. So you can't ignore it anymore. But you could see that this one person got power, and it empowered all of those who agree with him. And so we can't dismiss that, which is part of why I'm grateful to him. But it should also be a reminder on the other side, you know, what works for darkness works for light. So the more you're able to come to your own power and transform yourself, becoming who you are supposed to be, it inspires energetically even the whole world. So roll back to center, stretch your legs long, and we take a mini shavasana before we get sweaty, I hope. So lay on the ground, palms open to receive, eyes closed. All right, then hug your knees once more up to your chest. Maybe lift up your face and kiss your knees. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And then start to rock and roll, and see if you can gain enough momentum to come up into a forward bend at the top of your mat. Letting your head hang, your feet be wide, your knees kind of soft. Take another full inhale, and with your exhale, just sigh it out through your mouth. And then pushing down with your feet, you can start to walk your hands and like squeeze your legs a little bit as you walk your hands up your body. Maybe you can give a little hip squeeze and then stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Reach your fingertips away from your knuckles. Feel your heels drive down into the ground a little deeper. And with your exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Let your elbows drop. Instead, take the activity through the center of your body. Imagine you're being lifted by the crown of your head. And let's sound 3 ohms. So close your eyes, empty your breath. Take a deep inhale. Ah. 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 Inhale, stretch your arms up, ready for sun salutation A. Take a full inhale, lift up, and with your exhale, bow down. Knees soft, letting your hands come through heart center. Let your head drop. Now find the power in your legs, even with your knees bent, and inhale, halfway lift, pushing your hands to your shins or with your hands on the ground. Keep this activity in your spine. Place your hands where your feet are and step back to plank, or right in front of your feet. That's a lot more easy. Yeah. Now take some breaths in plank. This is a really dramatic version of standing upright. So push back with your heels like the earth is behind you. Reach forward with your chest like the sun is in front of you. Feel your shoulders coming onto your spine. Take another full inhale. Inch to your tippy toes, and then lower all the way down to the ground. Flip your toes over, plant your toenails down into the ground. Inhale, lift up, low cobra. So good check to see if your back's doing the work as you lift up your hands and wiggle your fingers. And then exhale, downward facing dog. So coming back onto your knees and lifting up works just fine. Now, find your downward facing dog. This is a posture we get really used to, and so we can kind of go there and be like, oh, I'm going to check out. We're still in our sun salutation, so you can imagine the sun is actually evoking wakefulness in our body. So feel that your sit bones are reaching up to the sunlight. Feel that you're active in pushing down and forward with your hands. Your head is relaxed, your gaze in between your feet, or you can start to lightly bring your chin towards your chest and look at your belly button. Take another full inhale, empty your breath all the way, look forward a little bit beyond your fingertips and hop your feet gently in between your feet. Inhale, halfway lift, glide your chest forward. Exhale, release and bow down, let your head drop. Like a plant growing tall, inhale, rise up towards the sky. And with your exhale, samastitihi. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, soften your knees and bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift, chest forward, shoulders back. And then step back to plank. Come to your tippy toes and lower down chaturanga with your next inhale. Elbows and shoulders the same height. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. That was great. Thanks, Mona. You reminded me. So inhale, come forward into plank. Now there's a nice in-between just going to the floor if you're still building strength, and chaturanga. You can do Ashtanga Namaskar, where you bend your knees and your elbows, and so you bring your chest and your knees to the ground. Very nice. And then you slide forward into low cobra. Legs strong. Nice. Exhale, downward facing dog. Very nice. So it's a wonderful way to practice getting stronger for chaturanga before you're there. We'll do it again. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way and hop your feet in between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release and bow down. Drop your head. Push down with your feet. Roll up to the sky. Lift up high. And with your exhale, samastitihi. Now bend your knees. Drop your butt. Inhale, Utkatasana. You want a nice little curve in your lower back, so you're still pushing your butt back. Reach through your fingertips. Let your hips sink down as your heart rises up. Take another full inhale. And then exhale, bow down. Let your head soften. Inhale, halfway lift. Now step back to plank. Knees and chest, Ashtanga Namaskar. Inhale, low cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bring your knee to your right armpit. It's high up there. Inhale, stretch your right leg long. Exhale, right armpit or your shoulder. Just really try to lift your knee high. Inhale, stretch your right leg long. Exhale, step your right foot forward. Rise up, crescent lunge. So you have your back heel lifted so your hips can square forward. Now squeeze, energetically squeeze your inner thighs together and feel that that can help you engage your root lock. Find space between your ribs and your hips. Maybe explore the back bend, especially if you have the openness in your spine. Take another full fueling inhale and exhale, sweet chaturanga or Ashtanga Namaskar, chest, chin, and knees. I'm sorry, that's what helps, doesn't it? Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. Exhale, try to bring your left knee to your armpit. Inhale, stretch your left leg, try again. Inhale, stretch your leg long. Exhale, step your foot forward and rise up, crescent lunge. And get active in your legs here to liberate the feeling in your spine, the freedom in your spine. Take another full inhale. And then with your exhale, chaturanga or Ashtanga Namaskar, chest, chin, and knees. I forgot to tell you the chin part. That makes it easier. And inhale, slide forward, low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So just to help me, inhale, come forward to plank. So chest, chin, and knees. So it's really like you're trying to be an inchworm. Thank you, Pear. That's gorgeous. So try it out, Bea. Yeah, perfect. Slide a little bit more forward with your upper body, Bea. So bring your chest forward. So like you're sticking your butt in the air and your chest down to the ground and your chin is on the ground. Beautiful. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. That's right. If you want a little bit more fire, add a push-up. Always good. Feel your knees soft. Take another full fueling inhale. Empty your breath all the way. Look forward and then float your feet in between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release them, bow down, let your head drop. Bend your knees, drop your butt. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, open arm twist to your right. Inhale up to center. Exhale, open arm twist to your left. Inhale up to center. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. And with your exhale, bring your right knee to your left elbow. Inhale, stretch your right leg long. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. Sorry. Inhale, stretch your leg long. Exhale, step your foot forward. Rise up, crescent lunge. Now with your exhale, you're gonna bend your back knee. Now tuck your tail, get strong with your lower abdominals. And first you're gonna take a couple breaths here. This is a warming pose. So you're gonna keep your back knee hovering above the mat. You can even take your hands to prayer for a moment. So you're really letting the fire come from the bottom up. Very nice. Now with your inhale, stretch your limbs. So reach up with your arms, back with your heel, and with your exhale, twist to your right, reaching through your fingertips. Inhale up to center. And exhale, open up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Now make fists and slowly slide into half moon. Reach through your arms. Hold on to something if you need to. That's wonderful. Now, you want to keep your left leg active, trying to hook your left hip hook. Stack your left hip over your right hip. Beautiful pair. Take another full inhale. With your exhale, bring your left hand down to the ground. Square your left hip. Inhale, drag your chest forward. And with your exhale, wave to the right hand side. Hey. And then exhale, Ekapada Uttanasana, standing splits. Let your head drop as you reach your left leg up to the sky. And then you're going to bring your left knee onto the ground, and you're going to lift up your right toes and bow forward into a Hanumanasana preparation. So if you have splits, you can go straight into splits here. If you're not quite into splits, you're on your left knee, your right leg is straight with your toes lifted up, and you're bowing towards your beautiful right leg. Even though this isn't a traditional resting pose, see that you can calm yourself here. Inhale, prepare, and with your exhale, chaturanga. So eventually you can go from splits right to chaturanga, yeah. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra or Ashtanga Namaskar. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bring your left knee to your right elbow. Inhale, stretch your left leg long. Try it again. Inhale, stretch your leg long, and with your exhale, step your left foot all the way forward to your left thumb. Rise up, crescent lunge. You want to feel that you've really fueled the fire here. Take a big step. Your back heel is lifted. Nice. So your hips can square forward. Now take your hands to your hips. That was a great cue. And then bend your back knee deeply. Hover your right knee over the yoga mat. Then tuck your tail. And if you want, you can bring your hands into prayer, or you can stretch them straight up. So part of why I'm liking this, not only does it's like it really stokes your fire, makes you get hot here. So you're working your muscles. It's hard work. But you also kind of look like an Egyptian or one of those Greek paintings. Beautiful. With your inhale, stretch your arms up, stretch your right leg. It should feel really good. And with your exhale, open arm twist to your left, keeping your chest open. Inhale up to center, crescent lunge. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior, and then make fists with your hands. This allows you a little bit more power. And then start to slowly shift into half moon. So you can imagine if there was a wall behind you, you would have both your butt cheeks on that wall and your shoulder blades probably. Now get really active in your leg that's in the air. The more active you are, the lighter your leg should feel. Take another full inhale, and with your exhale, bring your right hand down to the ground. Square your right hip. Keep your leg as high as you can. Inhale, drag your chest forward, and with your exhale, wave to the other side. Oh, hey. And then exhale, bring your hand down. Ekapada Uttanasana, standing splits. Very nice, very nice. And then bring your right knee down to the ground so that we're doing the split Hanumanasana assist. So your right knee's on the ground, your left leg stretched. Try to keep your hips over your knee. And you should feel this really in the back of your left leg. You're stretching your left hamstring. Letting your head drop down to your knee. Remembering, like, if we're working on strength, we have to have the courage to be in the spot where we're weak. And if we're working on flexibility, we have to have the courage to be in the spot where we're tight. With your inhale, prepare, maybe lifting up, and with your exhale, chaturanga or Ashtanga Namaskar, chin and chest, knees on the ground. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. And with your exhale, just sigh out. Let your knees be soft. And wiggle your butt a little bit. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way and hop your feet up to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release and bow down. Push down with your feet and roll all the way up. Stretch up tall. And with your exhale, relax your hands down. Inhale, lift up your right knee. Now, some of you are going to grab onto your right knee with your left hand. Others of you are going to go into dancing Shiva, grabbing the outside of your right foot with your left hand and extending your leg. Inhale, get tall, and with your exhale, twist. Yeah, beautiful dancing Shivas. Let your heart be lifting. Courageously look to your right thumb. Gorgeous. Take another full inhale. And with your exhale, turn back to center. You're going to catch your right foot with your right hand and stretch your left arm up to the ceiling. And go straight into dancer pose. So dancing Shiva to dancing pose. Let your heart be lifting. Feel the sun forces in you lifting upwards. And then with your exhale, release your right leg. And then just do a little like hip roll. All right. Lift up your left knee. So you can hold on to your left knee. If you don't have the capacity to, the flexibility to stretch your leg long. Stay lifted and upright in your chest. Lots of heart. Oh yeah. And then twist. Gorgeous. So challenge yourself. And we know where the challenge is. We want to flirt with screwing it up. That's fine. We're also working on resilience. So we welcome every mess up or fall as an opportunity to rise again. And then see if you can come back to center, and without letting your left foot drop to the ground, grab onto your left foot. Nice transition, Sabine, and come into dancer pose. Feel your delightful beauty. Breathe into it. And then with your exhale, release your left foot, come to the top of your mat, stretch up nice and tall, and with your exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Ashtanga Namaskar or Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now you can either just drop your knees to the ground or jump your feet through your hands and come onto your buttocks. Yeah, ooh, nice one. And then roll down onto your back. Hopefully we got to get you a little bit sweaty and warm. We're gonna do back bends and then we're just gonna round off our practice. So place your feet hip distance apart and then spin your heels slightly out. Push down with your feet and rise your hips up to the ceiling. And maybe shimmy your arms underneath you, holding hands and pushing your hands down. Allow yourself to breathe. Despite all of the cells in your body kind of going like, woohoo, 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 oh my gosh, this is awesome. It's like party in your earth. Feel that the more strength you pour into your legs, the more your freedom feels, the freedom feels in your spine. So you want to feel that you're pushing your feet organically down and forward, and that turns on your inner thighs. Let your chest open up to your face. And then roll down one vertebrae at a time. Let your knees fall together and your feet slide out. Take a full cleansing inhale. Exhale. Bridge or wheel, baby. you go. Try to keep your heels in the ground, love. Yeah. Spin your toes in. Yes, nice. And you could probably step your feet slightly more together, I would say, Sabine. Gorgeous. Nice. Keep lifting your hips high. Feel the activity in your legs. Now, anybody who feels it, stretch your right leg up into the sky. Woo! And then bring your right foot down and lift your left leg into the sky. Woo! And bring your left leg down. Inhale, lift your hips, and exhale, roll back down to the ground. Let your knees drop together, your feet slide apart. Take a full breath in here. En gång till. One more time. Noch einmal. Una más. Inhale, lift up. Allow yourself to be delighted at this edge. Allow yourself breath, joy, nice. Come to your edge, feel the fire, stay a little bit more, and then slowly find your way all the way down onto your back. Let your knees drop together and your feet slide out. Take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Let your heart rate return to normal, your breath slow down. And then hug your right knee up to your chest and drag your right knee across your body to the left and come into the twist here. Your gaze can go either straight up to the ceiling, or if you have a little bit more freedom in your neck, you can look to your right-hand side. Take a full breath in, and with your exhale, sigh out. And feel how your participation makes the biggest difference. So even just your exhale, your body's like, oh yeah, cool. I believe you. And then hug your knees back to center. This time, both of them, lift up your face and kiss them. Thank you if you didn't before, or even if you did. And then stretch your right leg long and drag your left knee across your body, coming into the twist here. And let's finish with a poem by a poet who is alive and female. Her name is Nikita Gill. We have calcium in our bones, iron in our veins, carbon in our souls, and nitrogen in our brains. 93% stardust, with souls made of flames. We are just stars that have people's names. The poem's called 93% Stardust. And then roll back to center, stretch your legs long. We're gonna make our way into Shavasana. So let your body relax on the ground. Palms open to receive. Eyes closed and trusting. If it's uncomfortable for you to have your palms open, then you can always bring your hands just to rest on your belly. Allow the ground to carry your weight. Let your eyes close. With your next inhale, invite your breath back to the edges of your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes and your face and your nose. You can stretch your arms long over your head with your inhale, reaching your feet and hands away from each other. And then with your exhale, hug your knees in and roll onto your right hand side. And just take a moment and just really notice this vitality and life force that you have awakened in yourself. And then help yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Allow your hands to meet at heart center. Root down to rise up. And let's close with one Om. So close your eyes, empty your breath, take a deep inhale. Bring your prayer hands to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow forward together, we say, Namaste. And so much love. Woo!